They said the stock market will boom if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
Okay. 12 seconds later.
So this just happened during the commercial break. The Dow 30 broke 40,000 for the first time in history. It hit 40,000.56 and then retreated just a couple of points. We closed above 30,000. Never closed above 40,000 before. Maybe it happens today, maybe it doesn't. We'll see. Dow closed above 30,000 for the first time on November 24th, 2020. That was only 3.5 years ago. Dana, I can remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we're putting people on the air talking about the books they've written about Dow 40,000. I thought they were nuts. And yet here it is today.
That debate prediction didn't work out so well for the former president, who somehow keeps convincing supporters he knows what he's talking about, when reality keeps proving him wrong. So all he can do is hope for the worst for the country that he claims to love.
When there's a crash, I hope it's going to be during this next 12 months, because I don't want to be Herbert Hoover. The one president, I just don't want to be Herbert Hoover.
Sadly for Trump, future presidents will be saying, I just don't want to be a Donald Trump. I just don't want to be a Donald Trump. But the good news is all they have to do is not be a criminally driven fascist to avoid it. So while Trump still waits for his detrimental hopes and dreams to come true, he sits in court facing the music for his actions.
If we could throw up the Free on Wednesday t-shirts at their fundraiser, I think this is ridiculous. This is the same type of stuff that the judge's daughter is doing for Adam Schiff and other Democrats. You don't get to get involved in the political process through unlawful prosecution and then raise money off of it. I think this is why the former president is saying this is lawfare. If this is just going to be a straight-out election going one-on-one, you can't have the judiciary getting involved, and they feel comfortable fundraising, and I think that's a shame.
They're shocked, outraged, and chagrined over the Biden camp selling T-shirts about Trump's day off from his criminal proceedings. I mean, who would go so low to fundraise off of Trump's constant run-ins with the law?
I just want to thank you for your tremendous support, and here it is. If you want to go out and get it, you can go out and get it. Have fun with it. But people do like it, I must say.
This is the fourth time Mr. Trump has been arrested on felony charges, but for the first time, he has a mugshot. And no sooner had former President Trump left the Fulton County Jail in Georgia last night, did his campaign immediately start raising money, not just off the latest arrest, but off the photo too.
Donald Trump then writing, quote, election interference, never surrender. And then he directed people to his website. Now, on that website, a message from Trump following his release from jail and some new merchandise as well. Shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, even a vehicle sticker displaying Trump's mugshot. Yet another way to try to raise campaign funds.
Former President of the United States wants to monetize this moment. He's been trying to monetize it for weeks, but he's really trying to monetize it this very moment, because if you, like many reporters and many Americans, get emails from the Trump campaign, you just got an email that said mugshot, new item. It's not the mugshot. It's just a Photoshop. It's, in every classical sense, a head fake. It's a picture of the president. It's not the mugshot. Mugshot's not going to be taken. It doesn't exist. But you can get that fake mugshot on a T-shirt if you send in, and here's the clever number, 47. In the Trump world and the monetization moment, it exists, if only for the purposes of raising campaign donations.
I wouldn't have had the mugshot. I wouldn't have dated it. That shot has been something, hasn't it? They have sold more T-shirts than any T-shirt ever in history.
It's probably best to let the fake outrage over fundraising on Trump's criminal behavior go, when literally everyone that pays attention to Trump knows he fundraised off of it, and off of Trump Bibles, photoshopped NFT cards, gold sneakers. It's just not a pearl-clutching moment worth faking, especially since his defenders have their hands full complaining about the proposed presidential debates.
Peter was asking Karine Jean-Pierre, why all of a sudden are you deciding to debate? Is it because of the really bad poll numbers? And she went on about his record and how good Biden's record was.
Well, it's because they had spent millions of dollars on advertising. The Donald Trump criminal trial is going on, and they've got a mountain of cash, and none of it has helped Joe Biden. And that's why, out of nowhere yesterday, they shook everything up by saying, hey, you know what? Let's have a debate.
These are the only people that are outraged over the two presidential candidates actually deciding to participate in a debate. Think about it. Trump has Fox News upset that he may engage in a debate as if it's an unprecedented thing. Can you believe Joe Biden is answering Donald Trump's call to debate anytime, any place? It must be because of all those poll numbers. Why wouldn't he just sit around and not do anything, like campaign and call out his extremely flawed opponent? They don't sound very confident in their guy, or that they don't get the chance to protect him in the loving arms of Fox News.
What bothers me is CNN gets the first debate, and what bothers me is Jake Tapper and Dana Bash.
Right.
They're very intelligent, smart people, but they despise Donald Trump.
Right.
I mean, we could put together montages that would go on for hours. We're going to show and show tonight of just the negative things that they said about him, the commentary from him. Jake Tapper made a unilateral decision not to cover any Trump press conferences.
Right.
They got a president of CNN fired for simply having a town hall, and they maneuvered, got a debate because Joe Biden set up a criteria that would eliminate Fox.
Killmeat can create a montage of the bias that CNN has towards Donald Trump to show how wrong it is that they get to hold a presidential debate. I mean, if a montage of clips can be compiled from a news network that shows bias against one of these candidates, they should be disqualified from debates, right?
Cognitive gaps that he has concerns over his cognitive decline grow.
No extensive cognitive testing.
It is prudent that you do a comprehensive cognitive evaluation because he has a much higher risk of cognitive decline at the age he is now.
There's not a moment where Joe Biden is cognitively with you.
Cognitive decline.
Yeah, cognitive decline is palpable. I mean, everybody notices it.
Everybody knows that Joe Biden is on the cognitive decline. So
I do not believe Joe Biden is cognitively strong enough to be president.
Cognitive decline.
Even before the cognitive decline.
And cognitive decline to explain away what clearly is a cognitive failure.
It's because they know he is in cognitive decline.
Biden, they are shackled to this cognitively declined old man. And it's cognitive decline.
Steep cognitive decline.
Who was in cognitive decline.
Say the cognitive decline.
People who installed an 80-year-old sort of cognitive incompetence.
Cognitive decline, his steep cognitive decline, cognitive disabilities that would naturally warrant a 25th Amendment investigation, but Biden's cognitive decline. From his cognitive decline, massive cognitive decline, which is that he's cognitively challenged. Biden's age, his cognitive decline, Biden's obvious cognitive decline. Maybe it's his cognitive decline. The more people see him, the more people see his cognitive decline, Biden's rapid cognitive decline. It's cognitively and physically fit to do the job. Biden being weak and frail and a cognitive mess, cognitive decline.
Joe Biden's cognitive decline, we have chronicled it probably more than anybody.
When Fox News, Donald Trump, and his yes men don't have control over the narrative or the ability to reconstruct reality to make him look less incompetent than he is, they start to panic. So now that he's shot from the hip and immediately accepted Biden's debate challenge, they're focused on their favorite play left, preemptively lowering expectations and claims there's some cheating going on.
What do you make? How do these debates play out from your perspective?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because, look, I'll just be very plain and simple. I was in the State of the Union address, and Joe Biden must have been jacked up on something that day. I absolutely believe that from a medical viewpoint, and actually have a little bit of good knowledge that that happened. He can't stand it. He can't stand under the lights for that long, and I don't think he can keep a concept in his brain that long. It's going to be important that President Trump stays presidential. He did that during the last debate. He did not do that during the first debate. He just has to stay in his lane. President Trump just has to stay in his lane and act presidential. Sometimes he can get off on a wheel. We all know that and love that about him, but it sometimes hurts his issues. But Biden will falter and falter if he doesn't have things right in front of him telling him what to do.
Man, Congressman Greg Murphy doesn't sound very confident in Trump's ability to debate a guy in cognitive decline. He even tepidly tried to give Trump some advice about not being a complete asshole on the debate stage like he was last time. But he had to make sure to say, we all love that about him, so don't get me wrong. Be a jerk, but understand it hurts you on the issues. But still, as she's done before, Maria Bartiromo actually believed the generic talking points and asked him for those professional details about Biden being jacked up at the State of the Union.
Congressman, what do you mean when you say he was jacked up at the State of the Union?
I believe they gave him something to help him sustain the lights and sustain the vigor that he had. That was not Joe Biden. I was in there. He screamed for 2 hours. He screamed for 2 hours. And, maybe we can talk offline and I'll show you something, and I think that proves that.
Well, you'll show me what?
I think I can have some evidence that shows that he was given something before then.
Okay. In terms of a medicine or?
Yeah, you know, Joe, there's no way Joe is 82. There was a picture taken of him last week he was on the beach without his makeup on, and guess what? He looks like, what, an 82-year-old. You can see his surgical scar in the back where he had his facelift. You can see that very plainly. He's being manufactured and puppeteered by the Democratic Party to be president of the United States, and I fully believe that has to do sometimes with pharmacology.
Congressman, I'm going to follow up on that. I'd like you to. I'd like to see more of that. That's really compelling.
Still no word yet from anyone on that off-camera evidence that Murphy has to prove the accusations that he made on TV. But I get the feeling that this is all the medical evidence Trump minions in Congress need to make these claims.
You have said you'll debate him anywhere, anytime. Do you think he'll agree to any debates?
Anywhere, anytime.
Do you think he'll agree?
I don't think so, but I hope he does. I think what happened is, you know, that white stuff that they happened to find, which happened to be cocaine in the White House. I don't know. I think something's going on there, because I watched his State of the Union and he was all jacked up at the beginning. By the end, he was fading fast. There's something going on there. I want to debate, and I think debates with him, at least, should be drug tested. I want to.
Mr. President, are you suggesting President Biden's using cocaine?
I don't know what he's using, but that was not. Hey, he was higher than a kite. And by the way, it was the worst address I've ever seen. State of the Nation. I'll tell you, State of the Union.
Murphy even used the same GOP medical terminology that Trump did, claiming he was all jacked up on something. They're not even inventive enough to mimic Trump's attacks and put them into their own words. They must be worried that their fragile leader won't accept any variations from his rhetoric. But Murphy forgot one big preemptive point to cover for Trump's potential failure on the debate stage. It's all rigged.
You know, what we've always also called for and what Donald Trump has said is that he wants more debate. So he said, yes, I'll do this one in June. I'll do the one in September. I'll do the one in October. But let's do one in July. Let's do one in August. Let's do one every single month leading up to this election, because, Sean, we need these two men on a stage. So we want to see more of them on a stage, not less. And you're right. It's rigged so heavily in Joe Biden's favor, but everything always is. You've got Hollywood against Donald Trump. You've got the music industry against Donald Trump, mainstream media. Despite that, and even the judicial system at this point